Kind of ironic, right, that our word's flexible, because this passage doesn't feel very flexible. In fact, Jesus' words in this passage seem anything but flexible. And sometimes Jesus' words seem so harsh and so difficult to follow that we either get stuck or we start to tune out. Right? And this is one of those passages. We read 8 verses. Most of you are probably still stuck on this one, though. Right? First time I read it, I think I stopped reading there almost. Like, I kept reading, but my brain was still on this passage or on this verse. It doesn't feel flexible. It feels rigid. It feels harsh, almost impossible. And reading or hearing it is going to cause discomfort. Because we're going back to what we know about God's character, and you're like, wait a minute, God gave me this family. God gave me my parents. God gave me my spouse. God gave me my kids. How can I be called to hate them? I mean, it's like a salesperson coming to me and telling me all the reasons I shouldn't buy what they're selling. Right? If I did that, I'd be a really bad salesperson. Doesn't make a lot of sense. But if we just take those words at face value, we're going to miss the deeper meaning here, right? We have to understand that hate in this context is comparative, right? And I've warned you guys against comparative theology before, right? That's where we look at what everybody else is doing and say, hey, my sins aren't that bad. We don't want to do that. Right, but we have to compare and use the language in this context. Jesus is the one who calls us. This is what we know about God's character, right? Jesus calls us to love each other, to love God, to love our neighbor. Jesus is love. So why does this feel incongruent? Sorry, that's a big word. Why does this feel unbalanced? Right? Trust me when I say it isn't. You're welcome, Pastor Chuck. We always have to approach Scripture from what we know about God and God's character. When we do that, we begin to understand that hate in this context really just means love less than we love Jesus. This is where I start to meddle, okay? Another way to look at this is as a warning, right? That the things that we love, our preferences, our passions, if they're not properly aligned, will separate us from God's will for our lives. Right? What I want and what I need sometimes don't line up. And they will hinder our relationship with Jesus. And they will affect our ability to be obedient to what we're called to.